All right, what's up guys? So coming at you with a short tasting video today, and we're going to be actually tasting some freeze-dried fruit. I've been considering getting one of these to freeze dry some of our exotic fruits we're growing here on the farm. Got a couple of special guests here to try them with us. Hold tight. All right guys, got my travel buddy, editor friend here, Mike, and we're going to show you guys some of the fruit we're working with today. Mike, why don't you open some of these up, man?
What do we have here?
So look at some sapodilla.
Sapodilla? You want to try one of these here?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What the?
What the?
Hey!
Pete, what's up, man? I'm come visiting you, man.
Is this Mr. GrowingYourGreens.com himself?
What's up, man? Hey, you're eating freeze-dried food? I had to show up, dude. I love freeze-dried food.
Awesome, man. So what do we got here, John? I think you got one of these, right?
Yeah, I got a Harvest Right freeze-dried, a couple reviews on it. You know, I mean, there's good and bad about everything in life, including the freeze dryer and the freeze drying process.
All right, so let's eat a little bit. Maybe then we'll talk about the pros and cons here.
All right, cool. Yeah, freeze-dried food, it's the best, hands down.
All right, what do we got here? What do we think this is?
I think this is sapodilla freeze-dried with the skin on. And sometimes when you freeze dry, when it's like this big, the middle doesn't freeze dry properly, but you can still see, like, if it's unripe when you freeze dry it, it's still gonna be unripe when you pick it. It's still gonna be unripe, so you can see the green tinge. This would not be like an ideal candidate for me to pick, actually, or freeze dry, but.
Let's give them a try.
Oh yeah. So to me, like the middle here, it's kind of like, it's crunchy, but then it's almost like the cells are collapsed. So for me, that like dehydrated a little bit in the freeze drying process, because there's still the skin on, and when they freeze dry, sometimes the freeze dryer cannot sublimate through the skin. So this should have been cut in like thinner slices or the skin removed for it to work better. So there's like a lot of things that, in my opinion, the freeze dryer company does not necessarily tell you about the freeze drying process that people should be aware and informed about. That, you know, I'm hoping to bring to people one of these days.
Sure.
With ensure my experiences more completely.
Well, cameraman Pete, why don't you try some?
I just heard John drop a pro tip. Definitely take the skin off if you're going to try sapodilla. I see what you're saying about the little bit of a difference in texture. The outside is kind of more dried out and crunchy. And
right, the inside's a bit more fluffy, like
yeah,
just kind of melt in your mouth.
Okay.
Good sweetness, though.
It is sweet, though, yeah.
It's decent, yeah. You know, can't buy this stuff in the stores, so.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what else are we working with over here? We got some more fruits?
One of my favorites, mulberries. Dump a couple on your hands there.
Take in mind, this isn't a select variety. This is just the, I believe this is the Thai dwarf.
Thai dwarf.
Yeah.
And definitely, you know, when you freeze dry stuff, it keeps the texture totally intact. I mean, mulberries, if done in the freeze dryer long enough, should freeze dry pretty well. And this should almost be like melt in your mouth. And can store for up to 25 years. And that's something I really like about the freeze dryer. Another thing I really like about the freeze dryer, this preservation method will preserve more nutrients than any other preservation method that I'm aware of at this time that is publicly available to people in their home. You know, this is going to keep like 99% of the nutrients, they say, and significantly more than dehydrated foods because it's all done under vacuum in an oxygen-deprived environment. Plus, I love the texture and the crunch.
Yeah.
I mean, it just literally melts in your mouth there.
This is like, for people watching, I mean, like the little chunks you get in your Captain Crunch or something, right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
They use freeze-dried fruit in there, too.
It's like packing peanuts almost. The way those ones that melt.
Look at that. They still have the stem on them. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And the stems, actually, really interestingly enough, even when you dehydrate or freeze-dry kale stems, instead of being hard and brittle and can pop a hole through your mouth if you dehydrated them, they just literally, like, dissolve in your mouth. So, like, even something as hard as kale stems can now be easily edible, and that's where kale stores all its minerals, actually.
In the stems?
In the stems, yeah, and
Cool.
the leaves have more of the different, you know, other nutrients.
Interesting.
There's John dropping some knowledge bombs on the annuals. That's not me.
That's great.
Woo, these are awesome. I love the texture.
Yeah.
Next we have, you said these Namwa?
Namwa
bananas?
Yeah.
Dip on in there.
Yeah, nice sized bananas. I mean, now if you dehydrated bananas, they would turn like brown and get like kind of chewy, maybe even crunchy if you dehydrate them, dehydrate them. But look at this. Nice snap, nice crisp. I mean, this stuff literally dissolves in your mouth. If you guys put this in a blender when it's super dry, it'll powder it into a powder. That'll be like the world's best sugar because it's just basically freeze-dried bananas.
Oh, those are great.
I think that
Those
one
are
took the
sugars?
cake for me. That's my favorite so
Yeah,
far.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
Namwa bananas. Good stuff.
mean, this lasts for like 25 years, right?
Yeah, stored properly. So they're doing it right here. They got the oxygen absorber, and then when you pull the top off some of these, you know, it sucked the air in because it was under vacuum. If we just close this up now, even with the oxygen absorber, because it's moist here in Florida, you'll get moisture in here. Then try to open it in a month. Now this is gonna be more moist, and because now there's more moisture, more mold that could grow. So it's very important once you freeze dry it properly to take it out of the freezer, put it in a oxygen deprived environment with an oxygen absorber so you can store for up to 25 years. And then even better than a glass would be a Mylar bag, which is how I store my freeze dried foods for long-term storage in case, you know, SHTF happens.
All right, Mike, get us some more fruit, man. What are we working with?
Next we have Jaboticaba or Jaboticaba. This is the Grimmel.
Ooh, that sounds pretty exciting.
Yes.
All right, John, tell us what you're working with.
So this is something I've never had before. And like normally on Jaboticabas, I don't even see that. I don't even see those fruit too much. It has a nice purple skin, right? So does this variety have a purple skin or is it like a clear skin? So it's purple. So they must have removed the skin, and that's another thing. Freeze dryers can have challenges with skins, like on grapes, on blueberries, and I would suspect Jaboticabas, because they cannot freeze dry through the skin, so they were removed in this case, and then basically maybe cut in half or cut even smaller with the pit removed. So then it could freeze dry and then have that nice crisp. But literally, look at this. This is like a corn pop. I mean, it just literally turns into dust. I mean, you can't do that with, you know, dehydrated fruit because it would just be so chewy. It would collapse the cells. This keeps the cells intact, and that's why I like freeze drying so much. I mean, it's just like dust. It's the best dust I've ever tasted.
Just gonna say, it's delicious dust right there. That's so good.
All right, I think we got the stamp of approval here on the Jaboticaba.
So good, oh my God.
They literally looked candy coated. So I think that's Batanga Tuba,
Batanga Tuba.
which are typically pretty sour, so we'll see how they taste, you
Nice.
know. You heard that pop?
Yeah, I don't even know if I've even had this fruit in my life.
I've only had it that one time in Costa Rica, so
don't even
I'm
know.
kind of looking forward to this myself.
Oh my gosh, it smells like, smell it. Like that's the other thing, like, you know, this will keep the smells and the essential oils. So people that are into like, you know, hemp and all these things, they will use a freeze dryer to preserve the most nutrition in there. And
All right, this one's got 'em beat. I love this. Super sour, and so tangy.
wow.
That's
This is like one of
incredible.
those like
What?
sweet and sour candies when you're a kid.
That's
Like Jolly Ranchers.
way sweeter than Jolly Ranchers. Oh
This
my God.
is good.
This is
My mouth is
phenomenal.
watering.
Although it could be stored better because look, when you could take this and you could press on it, it just presses down and compresses. That's because the moisture got back in here for some reason. So
And
yeah,
the top pop too. That's interesting.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
I see what you're talking about. You can feel it in
Yeah,
it.
you can,
No, yeah, you can feel the moisture. So I mean, I'm just like, this is compressed down now instead of crushing like dust, it's compressing. So this was not stored properly. This will not store for 25 years. Well, that side
some
was
of
pretty
them
good.
Yeah.
So this one will not make it to the SHTF situation.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's gonna make
So
it to
let's
my
eat
MOUTH
this.
right now.
Let's eat it today.
All right, let's finish this one.
These are incredible.
These are really
So
good.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Well, you heard them. We got to eat these before they go bad.
that's a good problem to have.
Wow.
These are hitting the fan right now.
They are delicious.
That's incredible.
And you know, some tropical fruits literally cannot be dehydrated. The dehydrator will not work. So take an avocado that you guys could grow down here, put that in a dehydrator, it turns black. Put the avocado in a freeze dryer, properly sliced thin. You get a freeze dried avocado that could store, I don't know if that's gonna store 25 years, but easily 10 years. And that has such an amazing texture as well. Stores those healthy fats in there without them oxidizing or going bad. And a lot of these tropical fruits also may not dehydrate well. Like, in my opinion, jackfruit, while they do sell dried jackfruit that's been dehydrated, that's nasty, man. Freeze-dried jackfruit tastes like the outside of a fortune cookie to me. And that's the bomb. So, I mean, the freeze-dried technology, it's amazing.
Yeah, I always thought that having the fats and stuff like that would make freeze drying kind of impossible because of all those oils and stuff in there. How does that, is that?
Right. So fats and freeze dryers definitely don't get along if the fats are too much. So if you just put oil in the freeze dryer, for example,
Sure.
it's not going to freeze dry because there's no water to supplement out. Plus oil has all the cellular structure removed.
Right.
So you can't have high oil content foods, but avocado has some oil in there, but also has fiber and other phytonutrients and vitamins and minerals in there. So that does freeze dry properly.
Okay.
Olives also freeze dry amazingly. One thing I tried to freeze dry was amazing was I had fresh macadamia nuts. I'm like, if regular macadamia nuts are good, if I freeze dry, I can make it hollow and crunchy and fatty and delicious. It didn't work. So but macadamia nuts have really high fat content, like 90%. I mean, I don't know exactly, but it's high.
Sure.
That didn't work. But fruits with fat, like durian, oh my God, durian freeze dry is so great. I love freeze dried durian. It's like one of my favorites. I don't do that myself because I just buy it. It's easier and cheaper to buy freeze dried durian than to make it yourself. But I do freeze dry my own jackfruit because I could get that relatively easily.
That sounds delicious, actually.
All right, we got any mystery fruits left? Anything else worth tasting?
Here?
That's the one we weren't sure on.
Yeah.
I think that's Chico Sapote with the skin removed and sliced into smaller pieces so it will better freeze dry. So I want you guys to realize the texture on this and how it compares differently to than that first one we had actually. And feel how it's like more melt in your mouth.
I think you're
and
right.
It's not that crunchy thing. So like if the freeze jar is not working properly, then it tends to dehydrate more than it's freeze drying if it cannot properly complete its cycle because maybe you didn't cut the produce right, or there's a freeze dryer malfunction, or there's or your vacuum pump is going out and there's not enough, it's not pulling enough vacuum as it should, in my opinion, based on my experience.
Sure.
I wonder from just being outside if the humidity will rehydrate it.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
I
Here
feel like
in
it's already
Vegas,
happening. Yeah.
Here in Vegas, it totally. I mean, here in
Florida.
Here in Florida it will, but in Vegas it does not happen as much unless it's monsoon season because it's so arid there. Right. But absolutely, that's why once you seal this back, maybe even put a new oxygen absorber and then pull a vacuum on it to pull the moisture that's in there out. Mm-hmm. Very important to store them properly.
Yep. Awesome.
Or eat them soon after opening.
No problem. No problem. Especially with those Batanga Tubas. Let's see, what else do we have?
I think this is the last one.
Oh, is it?
We know what it is?
No.
I mean, if I had to guess, I would say it looks like
Is that jackfruit?
Jackfruit that's been properly sliced, like really thin, because I don't slice my jackfruit that thin. I'm too lazy to do it.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
It looks like
Jackfruity?
Smell it,
yeah.
smell it. Oh yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this is
Really?
jackfruit
That's
probably freeze-dried, hopefully.
Oh,
I'm looking
wow.
forward to this one, right?
Okay.
All right.
I hear the crunch.
Very crunchy.
Still some hard spots though, I noticed a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
maybe not exactly done properly.
Even with
that as
slicing
well.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you
Or
said
maybe
this-
it just compressed down. I don't know. But you know, the freeze drying, it worked to get the moisture out, even if it didn't keep that exact texture that everybody always wants, like I desire. It's still freeze dried. You can still store for 25 years.
That's great.
But you know, that's where I think the machine can be improved so that, you know, tropical fruits that they don't get to test when they're in Utah where they make it, you know, they get tested to find the exact programming or do what they need to do to make this machine work for every food like they claim.
Yep. Now that's not as sweet as I would have expected either.
Well, if the jackfruit going in is not that sweet,
yeah.
it's not gonna be sweet coming out, so it's very important to get, you know,
About to do the start of it? Okay.
But that being said, even a fruit that's not that good, desirable fresh, if you freeze dry it, it'll make it a little bit better because now you're removing the water content, which dilutes the sweetness.
Right.
So then when it's freeze dried, it's even more intensified. So worse fruit gets a little bit better. Really good fruit gets even better than that.
I think that ties them up here.
All right, so I am considering getting one of these machines, and I actually saw John's video like the day after I checked out the machine, and I saw the oil cleaning process. I saw a little bit of the pros and cons, and maybe I'll let John get into that more. We'll obviously link those videos down in the description, but John, tell us, I mean, what have been the challenges with this machine? You know, what would be like the thing that turned you off the most, and what turned you on the most about it?
Yeah, so I'll go start with the good. Turns me on the most about it is basically preserving food. You know, I grow a lot of food, I buy food in bulk, and I want to save it. If you don't eat a lot of the food that I like to eat fresh, which is like fruits and vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables, they go bad, they spoil. You know, once I freeze dry them, they could store for 25 years. I could eat them, you know, in the winter time when I'm not normally eating some of my summer fruits or vegetables from my garden. I could preserve my winter vegetables and put them in a freeze dryer. I could take those foods camping, or I don't really camp too much, but I could take them when I travel. You know, I took a trip to Chicago in March. It's super cold in Chicago, but I took like tropical fruits and salad that I freeze dried. I have a video on how to make freeze dried salad. Took it with me so that basically I could eat the food I would eat at home when I was in the hotel room without having to leave the hotel and like face the blizzard to go out to the health food store and get food. So I mean, and hiking and backpacking, it's the lightest food you could ever carry, and all you need to bring or find is your own water source, because that is the most concentrated and most nutrient dense food on the entire planet. So that's what I like the most about the machine. What I like the least about the machine is at this point it's probably the company. I just got sent a letter, requesting that I take my video review down, which shared, in my opinion, my actual experience that I had with the company. I had some poor customer service experience when my machine failed. After 3 phone calls and email, I could not get service to get my machine fixed, but I put a video up, and then within a week of putting my video up, I did get a replacement machine. But I'm in a unique situation where I have a big following, and maybe they're gonna take care of me better than one of you guys that might buy the machine. You can't make a video, or if you do, it might get 2 views, and then they just may not help you. Now they say they've improved their customer service. Maybe that's happened, maybe it hasn't. But in my opinion, if they sent me a letter to remove my video, that's just not good customer service for me. And I've had challenges with the machine. If I'm freeze drying leaves, I love to freeze dry leaves, like make my own powdered moringa, highest quality powdered moringa in the world. I pick it fresh, it goes right into the freeze dryer under freezing, and then under vacuum to pull out the moisture. And then it's like the brightest green color that I've ever seen. Like, you can't get that quality in the stores. Then I store it properly with the oxygen absorber, and then I could eat that throughout the winter and have the best green powder and nutritious food on the planet that I grew, that I preserved, because moringa, come December, ain't gonna be growing where I live. Well, it will be under the ground. I'll keep the root alive, but no greens anymore. And so I really love that aspect on the greens, and it works great. And then I made a freeze-dried salad, it worked great. But if I freeze-dry something like grapes or blueberries, even just lately I'm just been trying to freeze-dry bell peppers and mangoes. It's just not doing it properly, and for some reason, I don't really know why. And so I can't recommend it to people at this point, because if I'm having challenges, and I'm willing to work through some challenges, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people, after spending like $2,500 or $3,000, $2,000 on a machine, it's like, I expect when I put that much money into a machine to be perfected and work properly, and not have to keep going back and do all these different things, and have an oil filter that, in my opinion, is a little bit shoddy. It looks like a kid with a hot glue gun put it together, and it should just be more professional, and clean the oil better, because cleaning your oil pump, filtering your oil after every use is imperative. I've learned, I did see pump degradation over time, even though I filtered my oil every time with the inexpensive pump they gave, that, in my opinion, did not filter the oil properly and left more particulate in there than maybe a Brita filter that you could make by buying a Brita pitcher from the Goodwill store and shoving toilet paper down in there. But I don't think it's reasonable to expect $2,500 freeze dry buyers to have to make their own filters, that they could keep their oil clean, so that they could extend the life of their pump, and also keep the performance of the machine even better, especially when they lowered the warranty on the pump to 6 months, from what I hear at this time. So, pros and cons, Pete, I'm sure to probably come out with more videos as I know more in the future about the freeze dryer. I would just suggest that if your people are interested in buying one, watch my videos about it. I will continue to have new videos come out with my updates and more information, as it comes, And here's the thing, I just tell it like it is. If it worked great, I would let you guys know. But, it hasn't gone as well as I would hoped, and as I would. But, if you really want to freeze dry stuff, yeah, absolutely get one, But know that you just got to take care of the machine. You got to filter the oil properly. You got to take care of it. And you may have some issues, and hopefully the company will take care of you like they have taken care of me up to this point, for the most part, except for sending me a nasty letter.
John, thanks for sharing your experience. Appreciate you dropping in.
No worries, man.
All right, guys, I really appreciate John's honesty there with that video. Sounds like they have a few kinks to kind of still work out with this thing. Pretty awesome of John to stop in while he was here in Tampa. We're going to do a tour now. I got to get moving. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Links will be down below for John's channel. Most importantly, pound dirt.